94.7.
It's KWC basketball time.
Get it to Clark. Clark, three-quarters court. No good! And the Panthers pull off the upset!
Let's go live to the Owensboro Country Club and join hosts Stephen A. Turner and Vic Evans as they are joined by head coach Drew Cooper for the KWC Basketball Coaches Show, presented by Hendrick Screen, here on your home for the Panthers, 94.7 WBIO.
And welcome to not the Drew Cooper Coaching Show, the Tyrone Young Coaches Show, brought to you by Hendrick Screen. It's my fault, Coach.
Yeah.
Forgot to do something there. Also, we will be live streaming this on the 102.7 The Game live at 5, Facebook page live, YouTube page, X live. You can find it anywhere out there. And welcome to the new world of 102.7 The Game, Coach. This is your first time in the new studio.
It definitely is. It's pretty nice. I can't lie. Except for Drew got a nice tan now. And then got a lot shorter, but it's really nice in here, actually.
Well, you know, we got our big man back here, Joe Utley, back on the wall. I mean, if you got Wesleyan, you're gonna have a wall full on over here. These are a lot of Owensboro greats that went on to play professional sports and big time college sports, and had to add former Wesleyan guy down there, Ryan Lemon. Got to have Ryan Lemon on the wall, and then Joe Utley. I mean, those are two guys you got to have if you're going to talk about Wesleyan.
Yeah, got Lauren Hill, Michael Jackson, Michael Jordan. I like it in here.
Yeah, you know, they put together. They said, hey, they went to everybody and they said, okay, we want your favorite album covers of any album you've ever seen.
That's one of my favorites. Right
none of those are mine because I do not know any of those albums whatsoever.
You're
Coach.
not telling the truth.
I am telling the truth.
So you didn't know the Millennial album?
I have no idea who that is.
Really?
Yeah, none.
The Backstreet Boys?
I mean, I know the name, but I couldn't tell you one song that's on that album or what one song they sing. Like you can go all the way through. I mean.
Yeah.
I
know you know that one.
Which one?
Mama Spaghetti by Eminem.
No, I could not tell you a single Eminem song.
All right, now we're going to have to get you cultured.
No. Music is not the way, Coach. Really but, you know, like I said, it's been too long since we got to talk to you, though. We'll talk a little bit in the first segment. We're going to talk a little bit about the first two games of the year. Mm-hmm. In segment 2, you brought a couple players with you, in Cam Brogan and Dre Raven.
Yes.
And so we'll get to learn a little bit about them. And then segment 3, we'll get you ready for the GMAC home opener this weekend as you guys take on Walsh. I don't know if they're bringing their radio crew, but if they are, there's no room in the inn for you. I'm just letting you know. I'm just joking. We'll make room. We're good hosts, but I have to joke about that. But before we get to West Florida and to William Jewell, I think there's this misnomer, and you're starting to see it play out on TV on Sundays. You know, people think Division II football.
Yeah.
And they think, you know, it's Division II football. I don't know if people watching Lions games, but
Isaac Tisla,
Tisla, who's from Hillsdale, who made one of the greatest catches I've ever seen personally against you guys.
Right.
All he's doing is making those same catches in the NFL. I think people forget how good GMAC football is. This guy, nobody can stop him in the NFL. They need to throw it to him more often.
Yeah, no, he is really, really good. I mean, but, you know, that year he made that catch on us, he had a really, really good year that year. We actually held him to his lowest output that season, so we were pretty excited about that, and we won that night. So, but I mean, a lot of people don't understand the talent level that's at Division II, and that's one thing that we get to see every Saturday, week in and week out, with our own guys and the guys we go against, just how talented a lot of these teams are.
Well, we saw that week 1 as you guys open against West Florida. They come in here ranked 6th in the country, coming off a huge win where the Lenore Ryan, they just took apart.
Yeah.
And I thought for a team that's playing so many first-time starters and young starters and new starters, either through the transfer portal or freshmen, on the defensive side, outside of play one, I don't know what it is about play one this year so far. We got to talk about that.
Me neither.
But outside of play one, I thought that was a defensive group that really held its own against a really good West Florida team.
Yeah, no, our guys in general are really excited to play in that game. Not just it being our season opener, but the opportunity to play against a top 5 team in the country. They were 6 at that time. They're 3 now. But just that opportunity for our guys to go against some of the best in the country. We were really excited about that. Our defense came out. Other than the slow start, and, they played well throughout the majority of the game versus a team who put up almost 500 yards the week before and 50 points. Coach Fraze had those guys ready to go. And all our defensive coaches had those guys ready to go. They had a really good game plan. And our kids went out and executed it. So like you said, we tracked it, and it was a total of 19 guys playing in their first ever college game or making their first ever collegiate start that game. So it was a lot of green on the field for us. and just to see the guys go out and compete in that manner, I was really excited, really encouraging as coaches to see. And then knowing that we did let a couple opportunities offensively slip away from us, towards the end of the half and certain drives in the second half to where that game could have been a whole lot different. But, you learn and you move on. And, that's one of the things for us is we're proud with how we competed, not happy with the results, but we've seen a whole lot of growth in our guys.
That a lot of coaches will tell you that from game 1 to game 2 maybe is where you make your most improvement at. And as you go into William Jewell on the road, it's always tough to go on the road anywhere in college football. Did you see some things that you were wanting to work on that you made those adjustments in the game too?
Yeah.
Or was it kind of, maybe a step back for you guys? How did you see it?
To be honest, man, we started slow once again. And we can say that because we had an opportunity to put points on the board in that first drive offensively, defensively,
What is it about the first play of the game? There's 2 games in a row and it's 2 75-yard touchdowns.
And for us, it was after the first game. It wasn't normal, but we weren't shell-shocked by it. Things happened. They ran a play to where we misfitted wrong. And so, we got that adjusted quickly on the sideline, as you've seen throughout the rest of the first half. But if we do, a little better job of converting on some of our downs and then, making sure that we're playing clean football. That's our biggest thing right now is playing clean football.
I look at it, and I know people sometimes just look at scores, but, me calling the game on against West Florida, I was following along on, with the stats and the play-by-play action against William Jewell. And, even though they got off to a fast start, look at West Louisville or West Florida. I don't know why I said West Florida, late in the first half. I think it's 14-7 or it's 14-7. You guys have the ball deep in their territory, and you're thinking, okay, at worst you're going to come out. You're in field goal range. The worst you're going to come out with a field goal. Let's get a touchdown and really make this thing, right there.
Right.
And then you have the fumble. And it was a one where maybe the quarterback trying to do too much, where the play had broken down, throw it away, live to fight another day.
Correct.
He tried to make a run, got hit, ball comes out, loose, turnover.
Correct.
Even in the William Jewell game, once again, I think at one time you got down early, you come back, and I think at that time it was maybe 21-9.
It was 20-9, and we were going in.
You were on their 6.
No, we were driving in to score.
Right.
We made a big catch, and then we had a mishap of just a young player making a mistake. We should have had the ball at the 21-yard line. We got a 15-yard penalty, backed it up to the 36. I call a play for Cam Brogan, who's sitting in there. He beats the kid across his face. The kid just grabs and holds him. And we end up throwing an interception. The ref didn't throw a flag. We got to live. We got to learn. Instead of getting 3 or 7 right there, making it an 8-point game or a 4-point game, or a 5-point game, we had to settle. And then they took a knee. And then, we're moving the ball really well to begin the second half. And once again had a young, because a lot of people look at Harrison Birch like he's been starting for, 4 years.
He's made 3 starts.
That's his 3rd start just this past Saturday.
Right.
So he's still learning, getting baptized by fire, for lack of better words. So he's still learning in certain situations, and those are 2 critical situations. We talk about winning the middle late in football, and that's to stimulate the last 4 minutes of the first half and the first 4 minutes of the second half. And we've done a pretty good job of those. Defensively, we won those situations both games. Offensively, we got to put points on the board before halftime to steal some of the momentum or turn the momentum in our favor, because we got the ball twice to start the first 2 games we had in the second half. So, just capitalizing on those, growing from those, understanding how those go. Is key for our team right now. And you talk about the growth from week 1 to week 2. I think, our growth, we've seen some growth in there, but we have to learn how to respond to all adverse situations. You can't necessarily think, how things went worse West Florida, and they had 18 penalties for 191 yards. You can't think that's going to happen every single game. And so we have to fight through some adversity early in the game, which kind of threw us out of whack, out of sorts, just some untimely penalties. And then I think we were looking for some too many times instead of just playing football. And we have to get things established, stopping the run and running the ball. And once we do those 2 things, we'll be just fine.
Yeah, and I think sometimes we saw, of course, Steve and I talked, the 19 penalties at West Florida, but they almost reminded me of like a Rick Pitino basketball team on the football field. They were going to be very physical with the receiver, thinking there's no way the referee's going to throw a flag every time.
Correct.
Like, I'm going to get away with some of them. And then when you get a few of those calls,
you expect them.
You kind of expect them, and then you don't play. You, as a receiver, you've got to play through that contact.
Correct.
Because there's going to be crews out there that are going to let you get get more physical than others, and you can't be knocked off of your route because those usually end up turning into interceptions.
And our young guys found that out,
the hard way.
You talk about Cam Brogan, who you'll see here in a minute. He leads the GMAC in receiving yards, but for him too, this is still under 10 starts in his college career. Will Ray, who's number 5 in the conference, this is his second or third start in his college career. Keywan Posey, that was his second game playing. DJ Perry, we can go on and on and on about the youth that we have. So they're learning on the fly. They're getting taught on the fly. They're getting taught by one of the best in Coach McGuire. And so, it's one of those deals for those guys as they continue to learn. The offensive line continues to learn. Our defensive backs are continuing to learn, and we got a really good group back there. I mean, we have a really good team, and that hasn't changed no matter what the results say. We just have to learn. We learned about ourselves on the road right there this last week. About how to travel. A lot of them, that was the first time being in the hotel.
I was going to say some of them, with the changeover here and as young as you are, even guys that have been to the program, it may have been their first road trip where they were on the dress team.
Correct. That it was. It was a lot of guys first times on getting to experience travel and what that was like and how rewarding that process is, but then how focused. And then, you're playing a road night game. Nobody knows about that. Everybody thinks it's cool. You sit in the lobby. They kick you out of your rooms at 11 o'clock.
I know.
And then the field doesn't open up till 3 o'clock. So you're just sitting in the lobby of a hotel just watching football all day.
Do they not do see, I would think that, I would think that, like, when you play those night games, the GMAC schools would work with you where you're staying at the hotel and be like, hey, they can have these rooms longer. They don't allow you to stay in the rooms?
Nah, and GMAC schools, we don't do that to each other no more. Like, you only play night games if you can travel there the day of.
Okay.
And that was a GLVC team, and so, no, they don't really care. Like, they're not down.
You're out in the parking lot waiting,
Well, they're at home, and we're waiting and sitting on a bus and then eating box lunches and then going to the game and then playing. So that was a lot of those guys' first time experiencing that. So whereas – next week when we go on the road to Hillsdale, I think we wake up at 7 and we're out of the hotel at 7:45.
There you
go.
So,
those are type things to where that night game and that atmosphere, it was pretty special out in Kansas City, and I'm glad my guys got to experience it. Not the results that we wanted by any means, shape, form, or fashion, but it was something to where we can learn from. We are learning from it, and I'm excited to see what we do this Saturday.
And as when you look at it, we talked about where this program is and the young guys, and I know you're not a guy that's a moral victory type of dude. I mean, you want wins, and you know how hard that goes. But when you get back from William Jewell, you have this practice that you have this week leading into Walsh. How's that been so far since you've been back? You like what you're seeing?
Yeah, practice went well this morning. Went really well this morning. Guys practice with intensity. I think the lack of things not going our way really motivated some of the guys to practice a little harder today. So I was really happy about that. We focused on a few different things that we felt like we needed to focus on as a coaching staff. So I was happy with that. Yesterday actually was really good in a sense. Yesterday was their off day. And so we have academic meetings and everything else like that. So we didn't get back till 6:30 in the morning on Sunday.
I was going to say, it's a 7-hour drive. If you played at 6, by the time you get showered and get on the bus where you're not like terrible, I mean, you're looking at midnight.
And then the bus drivers have to stop and use the potty and everything else. And so we didn't get back to about 6:30 on Sunday morning. And so Sundays are off for their bodies, mind, soul, and spirit and everything else. And then Mondays are their off days as well to get a good academic start to the work week. But when I say Monday was really good, yesterday we had a lot of guys stopping by the office, and we gather their input on what they've seen on film with Walsh or whoever we're playing against. And so a lot of guys stopped by the office yesterday, and it really bled into practice this morning. So we keep stringing together practices like that. I'm excited to see what we do on Saturday.
It's always a good thing. And, and in the coaching staff, this is a coaching staff. You got a lot of new pieces in your staff, too, this year, but a lot of them that have, ties back to you. And I'm sure there's adjustment when you got new guys. Frazier has been the DC, the defensive coordinator for a while, your offensive coordinator, which you are, but, you've got your running coordinator and that kind of stuff.
Yep.
But new pieces also in there. And I'm sure it takes a couple games to kind of get how you want things to run on the sidelines. How's that going?
It does, man. But Coach Frazier is doing a phenomenal job with our defense. And I don't care what the stats say. We're keeping them on the field too long offensively. So, but he's doing a phenomenal job. Him, Coach Haddock, Coach Jackson, and Coach Walker are doing a great job on our defense. If you look at them in the scheme that they're playing, it's one that Coach Frazier has adapted. It fits his personality. Guys are playing fast in it. Heck, I know we lead the conference in takeaways. Our guys are doing a really good job of being hungry for the football, that ATB mindset. And shout out to those guys. Our guys really believe in that. They're playing like that. I would like to see, our sack mileage go up a little bit, and I think it'll happen.
There was a lot of close ones against West Florida. Bowling was there a few times. There's a bunch of Jaden Santos Lopez was there a few times.
We were getting close. We were putting hits on him. So those guys are doing really well, and they're growing too. They're just like the players. I mean, Coach Walker, he jumped out of the Arena League playoffs and jumped right into getting his feet wet. I think he got back home like a week before the guys got back home. Mm-hmm. So, getting him indoctrinated into what we do. And then Coach Jackson got promoted to being a full-time coach, and he's handling all our special teams, which all our special teams look good now, don't they?
They do.
I know how critical you are.
No.
Shout out Coach Jackson.
Without a doubt.
Right there at that camera.
I will say this. If you look back 4 years ago when Steve and I were doing this, it may have been the worst special teams in the history of college football. But hey, with the guys you got now and what you've done special teams, it's been really, you can see that growth. And
Coach Jackson is doing his thing with our special teams. He's really focused, and I knew when I turned it over to him, it was kind of relief for me because I knew I was passing it to somebody that really cared. He really cares about our program. Obviously, he had plenty of opportunities to do other things, and this is a place that he calls home. So I really get excited to watch how passionate he gets about our kids and our program. So defensively, they're doing a great job. And then, me, Coach Clark, Coach Wilson, and now we move Coach Humphrey over to offense with Coach McGuire. We're really gelling as an offense staff, and I think this is the best. This was the best camp we ever had. I know I got to talk to you about it before Purple and White. But this was the best camp that we've had since I've been here. And then offensive coaches-wise, Coach Clark keeps making a joke just how, well-oiled we've been this week. And he's probably had the worst 2 weeks of his life the last 2 weeks. And, this is the first time that he got the opportunity to be in the office the entire week. And he brings such a good morale and just he sees the run game in a way that we need to get better at it. And he's so laser focused on getting us better at those little things that it's nice to be able to just, hey, Coach, what do you think about this? And I spitball something and I say something to my brain and he's like, oh, yeah, we can do that. And this is how we're going to do it. And so, being able to work with a guy like that. And then Coach Wilson is our rock on offense. He's the one that's, no matter how the ship is going or how the waves are moving, he's the one that's just going to be rock steady. He's not going to go right. He's not going to go left. He's even kill a lot of the times. And if you get that look on his face, you might want to not say nothing to him because either he's thinking or he's about to chew somebody's butt out. And so, at the end of the day, we have a really good staff. I know my guys are young, but that young coaches, young staff, I'm not making excuses because that's the way I chose it to be. Mm-hmm. I could go out and get a bunch of old dudes that couldn't relate to our players or, I'm not speaking ill on old people, not at all.
Come on, I'm one of them, Coach. Come on now.
I'm just saying, I like my kids that, came through our program. Kentucky Wesleyan means something to them, so they're going to give our kids everything that they have. And then, the two guys that didn't necessarily play in our program with Coach Clark and Coach Fraze really, really care about our program and our kids, and so they do a great job. And the one that he gets no notoriety because nobody really knows what he does. But if you're inside our walls, he does everything with Coach Steele. Coach Steele does, that general manager role. He's the AD at College View, right?
Right.
Let me tell you about how awesome he is. He got off work at College View at 3 o'clock whenever school ended, drove himself out to Kansas City, made sure all our meals were straight, make sure the hotel was straight, make sure we had no problems. You don't have to worry about nothing. Made sure our parents knew where to set up all the food and everything else. And that's just the kind of care that he has while being the dorm dad. He's the dorm dad, too.
Okay.
So it's just that dude, man, if I can pay him for what he's worth, he'd be a wealthy man.
In today's society of football,
right?
If you don't have a good general manager, college football's come like the NFL. Like your general manager and your quote-unquote front office better be as good as your staff.
I'm trying to tell you.
Because it's just because of the new world.
I'm trying to tell you, and Coach Steele is, he played for me, but he knows he has the respect level from me that he can sometimes put me in my place too as well, and just making sure that we're doing the things that I said I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. He holds me to that standard, so I'm really appreciative of how we're moving right now as a staff. I feel like we have a really good, and you could talk to them. You'll talk to a lot of my players throughout the season. We have a really good nucleus and a brother. We actually have a true brotherhood on our team this year, which is something that we've never had really. We've talked about it. We never really had it, and we don't have to talk about it right now. You just go watch the way they interact with each other. And that's a top-down thing.
Well, we'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll be joined by two players.
Yes.
This is the Coach Tyrone Coaches Show, brought to you by Hendrick Screen, 94.7 WBIO.
If you've ever felt these, you've probably felt this.
How did I get here? What have I done?
You may not know how you got yourself in this mess, but we know how to get you out.
Call the law office of BJ Early for your criminal defense needs. 270-927-8887. DUI, drugs, traffic, violent crimes, and other criminal defense. We are here for your defense. BJEarlyLaw.com.
Back by popular demand, Legendary Pools and Spas by John Maurice is here. If John has built your pool or spa in the past and it needs service, repairs, or just a little attention, he's ready to take care of you. He'd love to hear from his former customers, and if you're new, now is the perfect time to see why his work is legendary. Call Legendary Pools and Spas by John Maurice at 270-316-1007. Reconnecting with customers, one pool at a time.
When your business depends on powerful performance, trust the experts at Owensboro Electric Motor. From electric motor rewinding, repairs, and sales to gearboxes, pumps, generators, and controls, we provide the expertise to keep your operations running smoothly, even on the biggest projects or outages. Our experience spans over 2 megawatts, and we offer managed maintenance programs to protect your investment, quality, value, ability. There's no better choice. Call 270-684-4242 or visit OwensboroElectricMotor.com today.
Hi, this is Travis Holtree from Foreman Watson Holtree. You know, we will not allow anyone to deter us from what we are committed to. And we're committed to standing up for people and businesses who find themselves needing a voice because of legal issues. Our attorneys have the resolve it takes to stand up when tested without flinching in the face of adversity. We are Foreman Watson Holtree, and we're dedicated to you, committed to justice. FWHlegal.com.
Looking for a career where you can make a real difference? Signature Healthcare is hiring nurses, both RNs and LPNs, at their Hillcrest and Hermitage Care facilities in Owensboro. We are offering excellent sign-on bonuses and increased pay rates for the next few months of 2025. Join a team that values compassion, offers competitive pay, flexible scheduling, and a supportive work environment. Make your move today, apply at LTC Revolution, and become part of a team that's revolutionizing long-term care. That's LTCrevolution.com, where caring is more than a job, it's who we are.
Life happens fast, but with the right insurance, you can be ready for anything. At Home Mutual Insurance, we've been protecting homes and autos for generations. Whether it's storm damage, a fender bender, or just peace of mind, we've got you covered. Located at 532 Main Street in Tell City, our team is ready to find the perfect policy for you. Call 812-547-2363 or stop by for a free quote. Because at Home Mutual Insurance, we treat you like family.
Every farming operation has a story with a past, present, and future. Farm Credit Mid-America wants to get to know your farm story because we're a lending cooperative owned by farmers. And that's why we offer a range of loans and services designed to help farmers grow and prosper. Because we know why no one knows a farmer like a farmer does. Learn more about Farm Credit Mid-America and some of our farmers' stories at FCMA.com. Loan subject to credit approval. Additional terms and conditions may apply. Farm Credit Mid-America is an equal opportunity lender.
It's the KWC Coaches Show right here on WBIO, your destination for all things KWC football.
And welcome back to the Tyrone Young Coaches Show. Vic Evans here. All of it brought to you by Hendrick Screen. We're here in the Floor Concept Studios at 1027 The Game. Also live streamed on Facebook Live, X Live, Cromwell Media's YouTube page. You can find it anywhere. And here in segment 2, going to be joined by a couple new Panthers. Not new, but a couple of the Panther players. We got Cam Brogan here, wide receiver Cam Brogan, who's been that, I think, at Wesleyan, 3 years now?
Yes, sir.
Going on 3 years. Then we also got D-back Dre Raven, who's in his first year at Wesleyan. We'll start with Cam, originally from Mount Washington, Kentucky, played at Bullitt East, was one of the leaders on the 6A state championship team. I just always wondered, what's it like walking off Kroger Field? If you're from Mount Washington, you're probably Big Blue. There's no way you're a Louisville fan. Am I wrong on this?
Yeah, you're right.
Okay. So what is it like walking off that field at Kroger Field as a state champion?
It was definitely really cool being a Kentucky fan, being able to play on the field. And I'd say the best part was just it was first ever state championship, so it was awesome walking off the field.
I mean, everybody thinks the 6A. You think Trinity, you think, Male, you think St. X. It'd been a long time since somebody outside of one of those three had won it, and you guys not only won it, kind of dominated that year, an unbelievable year. And you're off to a great start this year. 14 catches, 193 yards in the first 2 games of the year, a couple TDs. you know, as a guy that came out of high school that was, you know, playing as one of the top receivers, you know, for Bullitt East and State, you know, you kind of had to bide your time when you got to Wesleyan. You had the Sherrards out there. You had a lot of great talent. How tough was that? And I think it's a learning experience for kids that are out there listening that no matter how good you are in high school, it's really tough at no matter what level you go to college to go and like think you're just going to play your freshman year all the time. It just doesn't happen.
Yeah, it was definitely a hard transition. I kind of had to like look in the mirror a little bit because as a freshman you think, oh, I'm going to play, but really the goal is just to make the bus. That was my goal. But yeah, it was a tough transition.
Was there some doubt that crept in at times where you're just like, maybe I'm just not good enough to play at this level? Is it really, you know, as a guy that plays all the time? And I'm sure at Bullitt East, probably you were a starter, I'm guessing maybe 3 or 4, 3 years there. Yeah. So when you're used to, and growing up, you're, middle school, I was a starter, and, and great, in high school I started, then you get to college and all of a sudden it's like, hold on now, I've got to, does a little self-doubt creep in there?
Yeah, I'd say there was a little self-doubt, but especially as a receiver, I have all the confidence in the world.
Oh, you all do. Y'all think are the greatest thing since sliced. The only people who have more self-confidence than receivers are D-backs. That's all I know. That's what we're looking at draft. I've got to ask you because, you got a new quarterback. So you got, Harrison, has been there for just making his third start. You also got Wertzler, who's been playing. As these guys come in, last year, how tough is it for a receiver in a short amount of time to be able to get a really good chemistry with his starting quarterback? How much work do you guys put in together, and how has that played out so far for you with what the chemistry you have with both, Wertzler and also Harrison?
Yeah, it's definitely tough. Me and Harrison, we threw a lot over the spring trying to build that chemistry, and as much as work we put in, we're still working on it. And same with Justice. I've thrown a lot with Justice since he's been here, but that's I'm kind of excited about is I think we're only halfway there right now, chemistry-wise.
And then Steve and I talked about this is, who was going to be the guys, on that offense. They had a lot of skilled guys at the receiver spot that were home run hitters. We talked about the Sherrards leaving. In the past, you've had McGuire and different guys. And we were, it was a lot of new names in the receiver spot this year. So, who are those guys that are going to be emerged? It's been, the two guys right off the bat, yourself, Cam, also Will Ray. I mean, you guys combined have been unbelievable. But talk about the relationships that you've built in that wide receiver room with all your receivers and the competition that goes in, with, the new young freshman Perry who's getting some playing time. Talk about the relationship in that room and also, the healthy competition that goes on.
Yeah, I'd say the relationships it's a pretty strong relationship in the room. I'd say at first, once everybody got on campus, it was a little rough because we all knew nobody had a spot.
Right.
Because this is probably one of the first times you go in first day of camp and you have 0 starting receivers.
I was going to say no returning receivers. They all either moved on or graduated.
Yeah, but that was one thing. We competed really hard, and it's like you're competing against the next guy, but it's also your teammate at the same time. So.
Yeah, and I've got to ask you, what was it about Wesleyan? You're at Bullitt East, you're playing football up there, Mount Washington, then you come over to God's country, which is Western Kentucky. Nothing wrong with that, Golden Triangle, Mount Washington, Lexington, Louisville area, but it's not God's country. What was it about Kentucky Wesleyan that brought you over here?
The barbecue. No,
that's a good start.
I'd say the relationships I built with the coaches they started talking to me my junior year. The time from my junior to the senior year, this relationship I already built with Coach Young and Coach Reyes.
I've got to ask you, as a receiver, you see it on TV a lot. And how much trash talking do you do to the D-backs out there? I mean, I know there was a very physical game, the first game against West Florida. They really wanted to try to physical it up and muck it up in the passing game. But how much trash talking does Cam Brogan do out there?
I let my game talk. I let my game talk most of the time, but I got some other receivers that would do all the talking for me.
Well, there you go. And heading into GMAC play this year, you guys take on Walsh. Things got a little sideways last year up there early. I'm not a big Walsh fan. I was going to go up and call the game, and I was told there's no room for you. Can't sit here. But all joking aside, with the West Florida game and the William Jewell, where do you think the team sits right now going into this game mentally in the preparation going in for the first GMAC game?
I think we're kind of thinking of a fresh start. Just because conference play is starting, and our biggest focus right now is just starting the game better, starting the game strong.
Well, I mean, not giving up a touchdown on the first play of the game really kind of would help a little bit.
Yeah, but I think we're in a positive mindset right now.
Good. I've got to ask you, as you went through camp and you went through spring practice, and guys get here and you start getting ones versus ones and one versus two. What D back? Because Wesleyan's kind of been known as D back U in around here. They've had great D backs. What D back on the team gave you the most problems in the one-on-one battles?
Well, I never went against Dre because I'm always in the slot, but I'd say Mason Bell has given me some good work. He's our safety.
Mm-hmm.
But me and him have been going it back and forth for the last 2 or 3 years.
And speaking of Dre Raven, is a junior out of Gainesville, Georgia. It's the number 2 Gainesville, as most people would say, but played 2 years at the University of Cumberlands. What took you originally to the Cumberlands?
I just felt like it would be a good opportunity for me to get on the field early and play.
Mm-hmm.
Coaches really spoke to me well when I went on visits there, and I just felt like that would be a good spot for me.
For players that are listening, and we hear about this a lot. We hear about this portal. So you're a guy that was at Cumberland's for 2 years, I think. Is it 2 years you were there?
2 years.
Yeah, and then coming into your junior year, you've got 3 tackles and interception this year, playing really well for Wesleyan. But, when you start to make that decision to jump in the portal, and I know everybody hears and they think that this portal is like a magical place where everybody that goes in the portal finds a job. And that's just not how it happens anymore. I mean, there's a lot of guys that go into the portal and never find a new school and are done playing football. Talk about your process and your thoughts of when you were thinking about going into the portal. What were you looking for? And was it still a scary proposition that maybe I don't find a home? And some teams will welcome you back out of the portal, but some guys, some schools out there, you enter the portal and you're persona non grata for the rest of the time. How tough was that decision for you?
It was a pretty tough decision for me to make. Coach Young hit me up, and ever since he spoke to me the first time, I just felt like he really wanted me to come here. He was gonna treat me like I was his.
Mm-hmm.
And he just spoke to me in a good way, not just even football, but off the field and what I want to do when I graduate.
What are you majoring in? What's the plan when you get done? What do you want? What's the plan?
I want to be a coach, a football coach.
Well, I tell you what, if you play at Wesleyan and you want to Coach Young, now if you're any good, he'll find a way to get back out there. But you've been here 3 years, Cam. Has Owensboro gotten close to being like a new home for you, or is it still the longing of the mountains out there? To get on that eastern side of the Kentucky where it's a little different.
No, it's definitely starting to feel like more like home. It's not a small town, but it still has like small town feeling, I think.
Oh yeah, it's kind of a bigger town that's got a small town feel. And how about you, Dre? I know when did you finally get to Owensboro?
I got here this year.
Well, I mean, how long have you been here? Just a few. When did you report to camp? Was it 1st of August?
Yeah.
Okay.
August 12th, I came.
All right. Owensboro growing on you any?
A little bit.
A little bit. Yeah.
Little bit.
You got a food place yet that you really love?
Not yet.
Not yet. Well, let Cam take you to barbecue because I mean, we did listen. I know you're down there around Gainesville, Georgia, and that North Carolina bar. It's not the same. That's not even barbecue. Seriously. All right. So get out there to Old Hickory, to Moonlight, to Old South, one of them, and see what real barbecue's about.
I have heard a lot about barbecue around here.
And as you were working out, with the receivers, I asked Cam what DB back that gave him the most trouble. When you got into those one-on-one matchups and all that stuff in fall camp and camp getting ready, what receiver on Wesleyan's team gave you the most?
I feel like Will gave me a lot of work.
Shifty, isn't he?
Yeah, he's quick.
He is. He's kind of like that Julian Edelman type. We talked about
quick.
that. Guys that you don't have the. Perry's a guy that gets down and can, maybe have a contested ball, but you guys are more of the Julie Edelman, Wes Welker, get them in the slot. And when they have 8 catches for 110 yards, you're like, how in the heck did they do that? That doesn't make any sense.
Right.
And as you going in, as you've played West Florida and William Jewell, you're going to get into the GMAC. I'm sure you've watched a lot of film. Cumberland's an NAIA school, but a really good NAIA school and a really good football there too. But going into your first GMAC game, what's your thoughts on that and what you're looking for here? I mean, you got guys like the guy from Hillsdale. See, he's out there catching balls for the Detroit Lions right now.
Not really too worried about it. Just gonna keep watching film, going out to the field and doing what I do best.
And what do you think is it? What is the best thing about your game? Is it? I mean, you always hear that D-backs have to have short memories. I mean, how true is that? I mean, is it something you really got to turn off? And
yeah, you definitely have to have a short memory at defensive back. You can get catched on 5 times and still have to line up against a wide receiver and play great technique against him.
Oh, you can also play. It's almost like a lineman in a way. Like, linemen can play a great game. They hold one time, and it's holding number 7. That's the only time they hear their name called. For you guys, you can really shut a guy down, and you give up one 65-yard touchdown pass. All of a sudden, people think you played a bad game. I mean, how tough is that mentally?
It's pretty tough. You just got to keep your mind clear and just keep playing the game that you love.
You know, and you start 0-2. You got Walsh this week. If I was to ask both of you, and I'll let you each answer this question, if there was, give me 2 things that we have to do better than we did in week 1 and week 2 to try to come out and get a win, against Walsh. What are those 2 things? There may be more than that, but to you, what's the 2 most important things that you guys have to take care of this week and do on Saturday to get that win against Walsh?
I'd say definitely start faster. Come out the gates on fire.
Can't really start slower defensively. That's for sure.
Yeah, and just attacking the ball, getting all 11 hats to the ball.
I've got to ask you, how was that against West Florida where, you got all these new defenders, either freshmen or new guys to Westland, and you gotten prepared all week long, and you go out there for the first defensive play and literally one play, 75 yards, touchdown. I mean, what's the thought when you go to the sideline about that?
Next play.
Next play?
It's a long game.
Well, there you go. And how about you? Give me a couple of things that you think you guys have to do offensively to make sure that you get a victory against Walsh.
Number 1, I'd just say execute better,
and
then protect the football.
Got to win the turnover battle. I know you guys have created some turnovers, had some unfortunate turnovers in some key spots. I think that's hurt you the first 2 games. Talk about Coach Young and what Coach Young. You've been here 3 years with him now, going on 3 years with him now. Talk about what he's meant to you these 3 years, and for people out there listening that take football aside. How about just Coach Young as a mentor, as a coach, and as somebody that as a leader of young men?
Yeah, I think he's a great leader. Coach Young's a people person. He'll tell when you're down. He'll come have a talk with you. He really he knows his players.
How about you, Dre? I mean, I know you just have a short time with him so far, but you seem to be. He must think the world of you. He brings you to the first coaches show of the year, so you've made some type of impact there with him. But talk about that. What the best qualities of Coach Young?
I just feel like Coach Young is a loving person. He wants to see you succeed in life.
Can I ask? Are there times in the locker room where he'll kind of peel a little paint when he's not happy? I've never seen that side of him, but does it exist?
Yeah, it does.
Well, guys, thank you so much. Good luck Saturday. I've enjoyed. We Steve and I really enjoy calling game 1 with you out there doing what you do with Will. I will say, you're number 9 or 8.
I'm number 2.
Number 2. Oh, 2 and 5.
Yeah.
All right. You've got to get Coach Young on these jerseys because those jerseys, the font, when those jerseys, you guys like to pull those jerseys up and the font gets like this, and then you can't tell a number. And the problem is you and Will, like on the field, would not be able to pick out the number. You look so much alike, and there had to be like 3 catches you had I gave to Will, 3 catches that Will had I gave to you. Tell Coach Young I need bigger font, and you guys have got to get like different numbers. You got I need you to be number 12 and him number 5, so if I see 2 numbers, I know who it is. Can you take care of that for me?
I'll try my best.
And Dre, I think you had a pick in the West Florida game down there right before. There was one. Yours was the one where you went up and mossed the guy, took it out of his hands, and.
Nah, I wasn't.
No, yours was the end of the half.
Yeah,
no, okay. Yeah, okay. Yeah, you're right down there. And guys, I'm looking forward to Saturday. Can't wait. Walsh, it'll be a 12 o'clock start. You can hit right here on WBIO. Good luck, and let's see if we can't get the Panthers with a win. And when we come back, we'll get Coach Young back. We'll talk a lot about Walsh, see what problems they present. And as you're listening to the Coach Young Show here on WBIO.
If hunger's calling you, go to Moonlight Barbecue. Stop in today, eat their buffet. You'll be satisfied and on your way. It's down on Parrish Avenue. That's Moonlight Barbecue.
Hi, I'm Zachary Clark with the Greater Owensboro Realty Company. Whether you're buying your first home, upgrading to your dream space, or selling and looking for the right price, I'm here to guide you every step of the way. With proven results, local market knowledge, and real commitment to my clients, I'll make sure your move is the right one. Let's turn your real estate goals into reality. Call or text me today at 270-231-1576. And always remember, close with Clark.
Lizzie's Diner is your destination for the best plate lunch specials in town. Every day, we offer up something delicious to satisfy your hunger. If you're a morning person, Lizzie's has you covered with our home-style breakfast menu. Let us feed you today. Lizzie's Diner, located at 1420 Breckenridge Street in Owensboro.
Save big money on your roofing project at Menards with Owens Corning Shingles. Your roof is the first line of defense against the elements and enhances the appearance of your home's exterior. Owens Corning Duration Shingles offer ultimate protection and impressive curb appeal. Choose from 24 colors of Owens Corning Duration Shingles and transform your home today. Plus, check out our weekly flyer on menards.com for all the great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
You know that weird squeaky sound your floor makes? Yeah, it's begging for a makeover. At Floor Concepts in Owensboro, they've got you covered, literally. Hardwood, carpet, vinyl, tile. If it goes on the floor, they've got it. Locally owned, super friendly, and pros at what they do. Floor Concepts makes upgrading your home easy and actually kind of fun. Swing by their location on 231 or check them out online at floorconceptsinc.com. Floor Concepts, your feet will thank you.
This is Zach from 270 Tactical. As we celebrate our 1-year anniversary, I want to thank you for your trust and support. I take pride in helping you find the right firearm, whether you're interested in Benelli, Glock, Ruger, and many more, or even exploring our selection of quality pre-owned options. Looking for something specific, we handle custom orders. Visit us at 1737 Sherm Road and see why so many choose 270 Tactical, where finding your perfect fit is our priority.
All right, Rockport, Indiana, and surrounding areas. If you're ready for a night you'll never forget, well, this Small Town Loud concert series kicks off with country music. He's got more shine than chrome on a 69 Chevy and more hits than your grandma's frying pan. Get ready for CMA Best New Artist of the Year, multi-platinum hitmaker, and country music superstar Jimmy Allen. He'll be performing Sunday, September 21st, live at the Barn at Pepper's Ridge Winery, located at 4304 North County Road 200 West. Gates open at 4 p.m. and seats are limited, so make sure you get your tickets today.
It's the KWC Coaches Show right here on WBIO, your destination for all things KWC football.
Welcome back. We're at the KWC Tyrone Young Coaches Show here. We're in studio on WBIO, and this year it's a little different, Coach. This year we'll be at the Country Club a couple times.
Yeah.
I think it's 3 times, then we'll have it here on the live stream a couple times too, doing things a little different.
Yeah.
I think next week we're back in studio here, and then it's a Country
we go
Club.
back to back.
Yeah. And then we go to the Country Club. But getting ready for the opening of the GMAC conference play as Walsh comes to town. Going to talk a little bit about Walsh. I was doing some research. They're 2-0. Come off a couple nice wins. They got a win over West Liberty, not quite West Florida, and then also Wheeling. And, look at it, very balanced offensively. They've run the ball well. They're led by Jake Gill, comes in, averaging about 116 yards. Quarterbacks put up some good numbers. Hayden Wickard, 523 yards, 6 touchdowns. And I was looking, what kind of impressed me is this not like one wide receiver. They got like 5 or 6 wide receivers with 4 or more catches in the 2 games. So very balanced offensively.
Yeah, no, I mean, Coach Fankhauser does a really good job. He has done a really good job for more than a few years. He's actually, GMAC, our coaches association at GMAC is pretty close, but me and Coach Fankhauser are actually, pretty close friends. So I really admire the job he does with that program. I was really rooting for them last year, later in the season, to get, his first winning season at Division II, and they fell just short of that. But speaking on their team, they always coach well. They play tremendously hard. They have a defensive scheme that has been in place for quite a while, and they're pretty consistent in what they do. Offensively, they return just about everybody on their offensive line. So they have chemistry there, and it doesn't matter, the pieces that plugged in around that offensive line. As long as you have a solid offensive line group, you can make a lot of things work. Their receivers last year, I felt like personally was the best core group of receivers, just because them dudes make tough catches. It doesn't matter how sticky the coverage is. Those dudes make some really tough catches. So we understand the challenges that they present. Going to be a really well-coached team. And so we're excited about it, man.
Looking back at last year, it was a game that, if you look at the score, but it was a game that, some weird things kind of happened right in the beginning. And once it kind of went sideways, where you talk about having to fight through adversity, it may be one of the games where when it started to go sideways, it was like, oh, here we go. And then it even got farther away. I think you're right. Once the adversity happened, it was just like, not that they quit or gave up, but just, sometimes you got to go out and make a momentum changing play, and you just seemed you couldn't do that. And then when the momentum got going the wrong way, it really rolled downhill on you.
Yeah, they got after us pretty well. They got after us pretty well. There's a lot of factors that went into that, and we won't go there, but they got at us pretty well.
We look at their defense. They forced 4 turnovers in the first 2 games. They got a couple guys that will get after the quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at your offense, through the first 2 games, I know you mentioned earlier, it's finding a way to get that run game going. Because if, against West Florida, really struggled to run the football, struggled again last week. And no matter how good your quarterback is, if they can just pin their ears back and go after the quarterback and not even have to worry about the running game, it makes it really tough on the quarterback.
Yeah, no, West Florida was really good at what they did defensively.
The front seven is good as any. I mean, maybe the best Division II front seven in football.
So we'll throw that one out. But last week we ran the ball for 97 yards. We just had a bunch of sacks. And those sacks equate into our rushing yards. So it looks like we've ran the ball 52 times for 6 yards, but that's really not the case. We ran the ball for almost close to 100 yards. Our running back room is truly phenomenal. With Emmanuel McCray, Demarie Brown, Aiden Houston, Dom Hollis, and Deion Winstead. Those 5 guys can really get when they get their feet moving and really get a chance to get it going, they can take over any game that they're in. And so we do look forward to getting that up and moving. We're not abandoning it by any means, because if you know me, that's what I love to do.
Oh yeah.
And so we'll get it fixed. And Coach Clark, he's a mad scientist when it comes to trying to get all that stuff fixed. And so he's not going to just let it fall by the wayside. And we'll get that up and running, and then it'll flow and steady and ease some of our turnover problems we've been having. And starting fast, like you heard both of my guys talk about, is something that we're emphasizing. And starting fast means starting consistent. And that doesn't mean coming out and scoring 21 points quick, because it's Walsh. You're not going to do that.
Right.
They're going
to make you drive the ball down the field.
That's going to be a great game on Saturday. If you want a good D2 game to come to, that is going to be a phenomenal game, because they are a well-coached team. We're a well-coached team. We're just a young team, but we're a young, well-coached team. And so I'm excited about it, and I know that we'll get the things figured out that we need to get figured out, and it's going to be a really good game.
You talked about the sacks and something about when you're playing young, playing young quarterbacks. You talk about, Birch, just making his third start. We know about there, but also Wurtzler, who's played for you and has played well when he's been in the game.
Yeah.
But when you deal with young quarterbacks, is that something that is
growing pain?
And it's got to drive you crazy, because I know against West Florida there were a couple times where you're like, hey, even the fumble, he was trying to make a play, just throw that ball away and leave the fight another day. That sometimes if it's 1st and 10 and you throw it away at 2nd and 10. I don't need you to make it 1st and 17 trying to make a play.
Correct. And the thing about the West Florida fumble is Harrison, as you've seen throughout that game in the first half, was getting demolished. Late, on time, it didn't matter. He was just getting mollywopped. And so in that moment, after the game was over, it was what it was. I made a joke with him. I was like, hey, where did you think you were cutting back to? Because the last time you took off running that way, number 0 made a beeline and took your head off. So where do you think you were going? He said, Coach, I just seen green. And I was like, yeah, I seen it too. But then with some freakazoids on the other side of the field.
They were fast. Those linebackers for West Florida, unbelievable.
Yeah, they were really good. Shout out to Coach Nobles. But he learned in that situation before half. And that's the thing about Harrison, is he's a sponge. He loves to be told. And Justice is the same way, man. They're both like very intelligent. You don't have to demean them, belittle them. Just tell them. Just talk to them.
And it's got to be hard as a playmaker. You want to make a play.
Yeah, they want our team to win.
Right.
There's no way around it. They're not going out there, and for anybody to watch us football or sees my 2 young quarterbacks, they're not going out there to turn the ball over on purpose. They love their teammates. They love their team. They love their school. So let's get that notion out of your head that they're just careless with the ball. They're not careless with the ball. They're trying to make plays the way they see within our scheme. And I can live with the mistakes that the both of them have made. Like Justice just running around and the ball falls out of his arms. It happens. He's making a play for the team. Harrison, he threw a couple of interceptions this week. He's pushing the ball down the field, trying to get us going. I can live with that.
Well, the one thing I was so impressed was, the one thing I always say is you can look at a quarterback and how does he handle himself staring down the pass rush, knowing you're going to take a hit and making the throw. And he does that. I mean, like you said, that West Florida game, I don't know, there were too many times he didn't drop back and take a hit at some point.
Yeah.
And never, you didn't see him flinch. You didn't see him do whatever. He stood in, saw the pass rush, and made throws on the dime while getting hit.
Yeah.
It was very impressive.
It was. And that's the same thing. Like you talk about the both of them, and we talk about both of them because both of them play for us. And Justice came out and started this week versus William Jewell, and he came out and led us right down the field, and we kind of stalled in the red zone. I made a quick decision to where we should have got the right play in, but I felt like we had a numbers advantage in a certain play, and we didn't necessarily execute it the way it was. We tried to kick a field goal, we missed. Cole doesn't miss too many times. And so I can live, I love Cole to pieces. So I can live with, his few mistakes. He rarely makes too many mistakes. So Justice came out that game, and the first 2 drives started 4 for 4. We could have had 4 touchdowns in the first 2 drives. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. We didn't execute. You heard Brogan talk about execute is our word for the week. It's execute, execute, execute. If we execute, Justice comes out, has 2 touchdown drives the first drives, and we're rolling. So that kid, you've seen it. That kid is special.
Oh, he is.
Harrison is special. We have unbelievable, and then Noah and Jacoby are both special as well. We have 4 young dudes in our quarterback room that are phenomenal. You see 2 of them all the time, and the other 2 are just as special. But I'm excited about them 2, and I know Walsh and Coach Fankhauser is preparing for both of them. Because you have to, because you're going to see both of them.
Yeah,
so at the end of the day, it's just what it's going to be.
As a coach, you talk about your quarterback room. Talk about just a little bit, I know they're out there competing with each other. They both want to be the starter.
They do.
But behind the scenes, they're there to help each other too. Yeah. And how's that whole dynamic playing out for a couple young guys?
It's awesome. We I'll show you here in a second. We had a spaghetti night over at my house. We get to try to get together.
Hold on, Coach. I'm only a block away. You didn't let me know about spaghetti night?
Listen, I know.
Literally, there's one house between us.
That's true. I see you cutting your grass and you see me cutting mine. But no, we had spaghetti night, and those dudes, man, they're still getting to know each other and trying to figure out this weird dynamic of competing with each other, but then also trying to help each other. Harrison's trying to help Justice trying to help Harrison. Noah's trying to help everybody. Jacoby is a sponge, and he is just offering little tidbits to make everybody laugh. But no, that dynamic that they're figuring out as far as it goes in a sense of competing against each other, but then also, wanting the best for everybody else. So I'm really excited about that. And they do a really good job of being teammates and brothers.
You always got something going on at your home games. That's one thing you guys always do.
You don't have to look at. I can tell you.
I know you would, but I was gonna act like I knew something.
I can tell you what's going on.
So you let me know, because what do we got going on this week?
I hope everybody watching, I hope everybody listening understand the sincerity of my voice, that when we talk about this weekend's game and what it means to myself and to just humanity, man. There's a whole lot of things going on in the world right now that just has everybody uptight and in an uproar and everything else. But there is this special girl. Her name is Hannah. Little bitty Hannah. And she is on my daughter's soccer team, and we call her Hannah Bean. Hannah Nugent is her name, and her mama Felicia, and her dad, Mr. Nugent. All of them is there. But Hannah Bean. Hannah has some things going on in her life, like she has diabetes and things that she's dealing with, and she has some pretty stuff to where she's a miracle baby, right? And her mom is, awesome. She's a believer and everything else. And so High Hope for Hannah Day is Saturday, right? Okay. It's this foundation or this group that her mother started, and she's up in Cincinnati at the Children's Hospital a bunch. But she's at soccer every Thursday, smiling. She's at soccer games on Saturday. She's at soccer. She's our goalie. She's just always trying to, it's so freaking hot this past weekend. And I'm a U10 girls soccer coach, by the way, as well. And so the Purple Panthers, shout out DCYS for giving me my color. But the Purple Panthers, we got a 10, and Coach Howard brought a 10. My assistant coach, she brought a 10, and Hannah's under the tent, and we had a big bag of ice. And so Hannah, this is the type of girl she is, and this is why this is so special. She takes ice, she puts it in the bag, she takes 4 of them, and says, "Coach, can I go take this to the other team? They don't have a tent. They don't have ice. They don't have water." And I'm like, fall apart on the ground.
I bet.
And then I get goosebumps just talking about that little girl, but she's going to be out there in pregame. She's going to be our honorary captain. Both coaching staffs are be wearing a shirt that says it's a ribbon on it, and it's the purple ribbon for whatever pediatric awareness that she's a part of. But we'll have High Hope for Hannah shirts on. Kentucky Wesleyan will with our logo on the back. And then we'll also have, Coach Fankhauser and his staff sent me all their sizes. They're all going to be wearing High Hope for Hannah shirts.
That's awesome.
And then we're going to have her Venmo printed up. And if anybody felt like donating and just hearing about her story is just a level of perseverance, man, and an 8, 9-year-old girl that she knows what's going on. She knows where her pump is. She knows she's very aware of all the appointments that she has, but she doesn't wear that. Like if when you get to meet her, she is smiling, bubbly. She'll probably want to talk on the headset.
And it makes you think about like where you wake up some days, be like, oh, my life is so that in the grand scheme of things, a lot of us have it easy and don't understand it.
We do have it easy, and the things that we have the opportunities to have in our life, I think sometimes we take them for granted. And until you meet a girl like Hannah, and I'm gonna show you a picture of little Hannah, because this is me and Coach Finkhauser texting, of course, but this is little Hannah, and she's always just smiling.
We got to get her on the halftime show, Coach.
Listen,
you got to let her bring us up and let Steve and I talk to her on the halftime show. That's all I know.
I will parade around Hannah because she just means the world to me. She is why you get into coaching, just because, like, I didn't know I was going to meet her at soccer, and then I met her at soccer, and then her mama told me her story, and then you would never know that in just the way she interacts with her teammates. And you would never know that she feels like poop throughout the week and then shows up with a big bubbly smile.
Ready to play.
Yeah, it's just, man, and she's always just always encouraging people, and she's just what life's about.
Well,
she really is.
The one thing I do know, Coach, I mean, I know wins and losses and football is important, but I love how you've taken football and used it as a platform for so many different things, whatever it may be. And that's one of the great things that you guys do. And that's why I always say that there is a certain thing called the Westland way, and the way you live it every day is a big plus. And as I always said, if a lot of us out here in the world would just turn the news off and just love our neighbor like you're supposed to, then we'd all be better off.
I'm trying to tell you, I mean, me and my wife don't even turn on the news because it's depressing, really. But the Westland way is just embodied by, the opportunity that we have to work at Kentucky Wesleyan. I think sometimes, like you said earlier, like our kids, and they understand, the prestige of Kentucky Wesleyan, the school, and how things grow and things change and things get better. We are in a state right now to where it was a lot of unknowns, but President Cousins has come in and being able to, solidify a few things for us, and he allows me to be me. And that is something that is so special to me, is he allows me to be authentically myself. I don't have to, filter anything. I know he has my back, and I know he wants what's best for our kids and what's best for our program, and he knows that's what I want. And so him and, Jason Vitoni, our new AD, Jason is my dude.
I'll tell you what, he was impressive the first time we had him on live at 5.
That's my dude, man. And they do a tremendous job of being supportive of our program and our kids. And like you said, another thing that we're doing on Thursday is Agriculture Day over at Newton Parish. And so we'll be over there from 8:30 to 2 p.m., just spending time with those kids. And my daughter loves when we come over there because then she gets to talk about her football players.
I love it. Well, I know Steve hated missing the first one. He's down in Florida.
My dog.
Yeah, I mean, you win an award, and then he just takes off and goes to Florida.
I mean, that is the case at a big end. But the Vikings lost.
So
that's why he didn't want to come in here. It's because the Vikings
That's
lost.
probably what it was.
We lost. The Vikings lost. It's a bad weekend for him. When both his purple teams lose, it's a bad weekend.
That's what it is. So come out here Saturday, noon o'clock kick. You got high hopes for Hannah going on.
Yes, Lord.
Come out there and see little Hannah.
Support my girl.
And then you guys have got Walsh, Coach. As always, good luck. Steve and I will be there. If you can't make it to the game, we'll have it on Flow Sports. Now, I don't know how you got Steve and I on Flow Sports. That's unbelievable.
It's pretty cool, ain't it?
It is unbelievable. But we'll also have it on WBIO. You're going to get a call from Flow and be like, listen, these guys have got to go.
If they're anything like my in-laws, everybody at Flow Sports is going to love y'all.
But, so Saturday, noon, Westland, Walsh. Like I said, Flow Sports. You got the you can watch it there. Can't watch anywhere, WBIO, or come out to Steel Stadium and say hi to Hannah. I mean,
might as well.
It's going on.
It's going to be a beautiful
Kentucky
Saturday.
don't play till like 6 that night or 6:45, so it's perfect.
You ain't worried about those cats anyway. Come talk about the Panthers.
Well, this has been the Coach Tyrone Young Show, brought to you by Hinder Screen. Coach, I'll make sure you get the intro changed next week. My fault on that.
I know. I got such a great intro.
We'll see you guys next week. Coach Tyrone Young, Coach's Show.